Namaste, everybody. Welcome back to Soundarya Lahari Sadhana. Today, we are going to talk about the most important sloka of Soundarya Lahari. If you were to learn one sloka among this 100, this would be that. So that much important this is. And I would also say many of you listened to Rajesh ji and Avanti ji yesterday on Karma Yoga, the sloka number 47. It's going to really complement this verse here in Soundarya Lahari. So we'll go and look into detail of what that sloka is. Om Shri Matre Namah. May Devi's blessings be with you all, always. We are going to start a wonderful verse today. But before that, let's do a quick recap of verse number 26 that we covered last week. Virinji panchatvam vrajati harirapnoti viratim vinasham kinasho bhajati dhanado yadi nithanam vitantri mahendri vidatati rapi sammilita drisha mahasamharesmin viharati sati tvatpati rasav. So we saw that at the time of Mahasamharam or Pralayam, everybody is disappearing. We don't see Brahma anymore. We don't see Vishnu. We don't see Rudra. We don't see even Yama, the Lord of Death. We don't see Kubera. Kubera is losing all the monies. Everybody is disappearing. Vidantri Mahendri, Indra and all the connected gods, everybody is disappearing at the time of Mahapralayam. And we looked into what is time concept in our scriptures, especially the Puranas. And at that time, there is only one thing that exists, which is the Shuddha Chaitanya, pure consciousness or Shiva. I did receive a question that is Shakti also there? Yes, Shakti is also there because Shiva and Shakti are not two different. Spandana aspect of Shiva is called Shakti. Spandanam, one aspect of Shiva cannot be separate from Shiva. Both are same, just like Agni and its heat. Shiva and Shakti are exactly the same. There is a name in Lalita Sahasranamam. It's called Maheshwara Mahakalpa Mahatandava Sakshini. So during that Mahatandavam, that is the Mahasamharam, Mahapralayam, what we are talking about, during the time, she is the Sakshini. She is the only Sakshi that is there, which means because she is part of Shiva, she will always be there with Shiva. Sloka inner meaning is that there is a unmanifest and manifest happening. Manifest is the waves of the ocean, and manifest is the ocean or the water in it. But even when the manifestation happens, even when the waves are coming, the water is the content. So water is the truth. Waves are temporary. It's a transient in nature. Waves are also water. It's not that waves is not water. Waves are also water, but it's transient in nature. Wave comes and goes, but the water is always there. Similar to that, Shiva and Shakti are always there. During the manifested time, you are seeing more of the manifestation of Shakti, but underlying that, Shiva is there. But during the unmanifested time, even Shakti goes back to unmanifest. There is nothing to see, no wave, no movie. You see only the pure white screen. That is the consciousness. So that is using those examples, we also understood, like, should we be worried about death of the body? Not at all, because body that happens to everybody, not only for us, but also for Brahma, everybody has a time. Of course, their time is calculated in trillion human years. That's a different story. But everything that appear, disappear. So sun appears in this universe. Moon appears. Mountains appear. Everything. We appear. So whatever appears, disappear. But we are not talking about appearance, right? We are saying that we are that water. We are that consciousness. So the consciousness never dies. Right? Bringing our perspective from the Jivatma to Paramatma or the consciousness is the key of enlightenment. And now, of course, enlightenment may be a little bit far dream for many of us, but what is the benefit of us doing all these practice, even sitting here for 1 hour on a Wednesday evening, and also all the practice that we do? What's the benefit? Eventually, during that journey through enlightenment, we will have reduction of the suffering. So right now, for anything and everything, our mind is pulling us down. So understanding this more and more, doing more sadhana, doing more karma yoga, we'll talk about that a lot more today, or doing all these things, we will reduce the suffering that we are having. So, of course, enlightenment is a little bit distant dream, but during that journey, we will benefit. Each action we are doing in the spiritual life is going to benefit us for now. And also, let's say if we don't get enlightened this lifetime, next lifetime, we are not starting from day one. Krishna clearly promised that whatever you are doing for that spiritual progress, that will be maintained. We don't have to start from beginning again. So that's kind of the motivation to proceed in this path, right? So with that, we will proceed into the next sloka, the 27, the most important sloka, like I said. And this is also considered as a kilakam of Soundarya Lahari. Kilakam is as much more meaning and details in the Tantra, but let's simply understand that it's application. So after doing the 100 verse, what do we do with this, right? So how do we apply this for our benefit? That is the key. It's a more of a key to unlock something. So this is that key. This is that kilakam of the mantra. Japo jalpa shilpam sakalamapi mudra virachana gati pradakshinya kramanam ashanadya huti vitihi pranama samveshaha sukhamakhilam atmarpanadrisha. So the full word is pranama samvesha sukhamakhilam atmarpanadrisha saparya paryaya tava bhavatu yanme vilasitam. Combined becomes saparya paryaya tava bhavatu yanme vilasitam. Summarize first and then we'll go into the word meaning. So what it says that may every action that I do performed with an intention of Ātma Samarpaṇam or total surrender. That's what I gave the heading also. So anything that I'm doing, let it be in your service. That's what it's saying. And then it goes on saying what all those actions are and what Devi should take that as a meaning of my action. So let's start with Japo Jalpa. Jalpa are my mutterings because, to be frank, many of the things that we talk on a daily basis, that is no meaning to it. There's a lot of jalpanam we do on a daily basis. So here, Bhagavad Pada is saying, let my jalpa becomes your japa, japo jalpa. The next is shilpam sakalam api mudra virachana. Shilpam actually means that any idol, you make the shilpam with your hands, right? So any action that you are doing with your hand is what here it means. Shilpam, sakalam means everything. Sakalam shilpam api. What needs to be considered for my action with the hand? Mudra virachana. Mudra is action by hand that is done for propitiating Devata. And mudra has much bigger meaning in puja. So it is used in tantric puja. Mudra is extensively used, but you are much more familiar in the mudras in dance, mudras in yoga. Mudra is actually anything that the action we do with the hand, it is for communicating. So mudra communicates with you and Devata. So, for example, when the dancers are showing the mudra for animals and different devatas, so that is a way of communicating. So here in this particular verse, what it's talking about, mudra that is used during the puja that we do to devata. In that sense, it is done to propitiating devata. Whatever I'm doing with the hand, let it be the mudra towards you. Then the next one is gati pradakshinya kramanam. Gati means my walk, wherever I'm walking, wherever I'm roaming around. That becomes what? Pradakshinya kramanam. Kramanam with anything you're doing with the legs. So pradakshina, let it becomes pradakshina. Pradakshina means pradakshina. So you know how you go around, circumambulate in the temple? You do go around in the clockwise, right? So it means dakshina means right. So keeping the devata to your right. So whenever you are doing the clockwise rotation, you keep devata to your right. You stay in the left and devata is on the right. So that is what the pradakshina means. So here Bhagavad Pada says, wherever I'm roaming, wherever my legs are taking me, let that be your pradakshina, that circumambulation in your honor. Let that be like that. The next one, Ashana Ādi Ahuti Vitihi. Ashana Adi. Ashana means eating. Adi means etc. So eating, drinking, anything that I'm consuming, that becomes Ahuti Vitihi. Ahuti is a fire sacrifice. You do the offering in, it's a, for yajna, what you do, that you are offering in fire. So that fire is taking that Ahuti to whichever devata that we are doing the yajna for. So that is the fire sacrifice. So my eating and drinking, whatever that I'm consuming through my five senses, through my mind, whatever I'm intaking, let that intake be fire sacrifice for you. Next is pranama samvesham. Samvesham is lying down. So when I lie down, let that becomes pranamam. Pranamam is a prostration to you. So Devi, if I ever lie down, or which I'm doing it on an everyday basis, let that becomes a prostration before you. Then Sukham Akilam Yanme Vilasitam. Then Atmarpanadrisha. Sukham Akilam. Akilam everything. Sukham, whatever I'm doing for my enjoyment. Bhavatu Yat Me Vilasidam. This comes from the root word lasyam. Literally, it means like whatever I'm dancing around. But here it means that whatever I'm doing around, right? Every action that what I'm doing for my enjoyment, Sukham Akilam, Atmarpanadrisha, with the intention of Atma Arpanam. So my complete surrendering, my own Atma here doesn't mean the Atma as in Paramatma, but whatever that I am doing, let me sacrifice or do the Samarpanam of me completely to you. So that is what it's saying. All enjoyment that is coming from me represent my complete surrender to you. Saparya paryaya tava bhavatu yanme vilasidam. So let it become saparya paryaya. So paryaya means an alternation. Saparya, it's also repetition. Saparya means puja, but saparya doesn't mean a puja that we are doing or sadhana we are doing in a one day or 1 week or 1 month. Saparya is something that you're doing for a long time. So remember what Rajesh mentioned to me, like 10 years of Panchakshari Japam. So Saparya is something that not even 10 years, like doing lifetime of puja. Bhagavad says that whatever that I'm doing, let that become a Saparya, continued puja towards you. So all my action, let it become the essence of my complete puja, Saparya. So that is the meaning of this whole verse. So Japo Jalpa Shilpam Sakalam Api Mudra Virajana. Jalpam becomes your japa. Whatever mudra, whatever the hand gestures I'm showing, let it becomes your mudra. Gati Pradakshinya Kramanam. Wherever I'm going, let that become your Pradakshinam. Ashana Adi Ahuti Vitihi. Whatever I'm consuming, not just food, Ashana Adi, food, etc. is everything that I'm consuming, let it become the fire sacrifice for you. Pranama Samvesha, when I'm lying down at night, let it become Pranamam. Sukhamakilam Atmarpanadrisha, anything that I'm doing for enjoyment that is coming from me, with that intention of that Atma Arpanam, the complete surrendering that I'm doing, and that all actions, Saparya Paryayas Tava Bhavadu Yanme Vilasidam, and all these actions become the essence of your worship. So may all my actions performed with the intention of Ātma Samarpaṇam, total surrender, serve you. So one by one, let my muttering resonate as your japa. May the actions done by my hands embody your mudras. As I roam, may it be a circumambulation in your honor. Let my eating and drinking be fire sacrifice to you. When I lie down, may it be a prostrations before you. All such enjoyments coming from me represent my surrender to you, and may these actions become the essence of your worship, the saparya. Let it become a saparya to you. You might find the similarity with other devatas puja as well.
Kayena vaja manasendriyerva buddhyatmanava prakrite swabhavat karomi yadyal sagalam parasmai Narayanayedi samarpayami.
For Narayana, you do the same. You can see the similarity. We all know that japam or the mudra or puja or pradakshinam, these are all sacred activities. And we are not doing these sacred activities 24/7. We have the prarabdha. We are all grihasthas. We have to work. We have to do our duties on a daily basis. All that thing we have to do. But Krishna revolutionized the yajnam into Karma Yoga, Veda has two parts of it. There is one, Karma Kanda is the first part, and then second part is the Jnana Kandam. Jnana Kandam is the Upanishads and Vedanta, the who am I part of it is the Jnana Kandam, the end part of it. And the initial part is called Karma Kandam, where Karma Kandam is all talking about yajna, how to do this yajna, how to do the mantra, how to do the meditation, all that thing is talking in the first part of it, Brahmana, Samhita, and all that thing. So that is the Karma Kanda. So that is done. Why is that done? That is done to get something. So materialistic benefit. So you are doing the yajna for a specific material benefit. Similarly, we are doing all the puja for specific material benefit. You're doing the puja of Ganesha to remove the obstacles in our life. So each of them, so we are doing those to get the materialistic benefit. So what Krishna did is that karma kanda, if we do that with a specific attitude, then we could convert that into a spiritual action. Because in 24 hours, if we take how many times we really can spend for these sadhana or the sacred activity that we are talking, this puja, japam, all that thing, how much time we can do, but we cannot live without doing the sleep, the food, walking around, these things that we cannot live without doing that, right? So now taking that karma, that's the day-to-day karma, take that, convert that into Devata Aradhana. If we can convert that, we can progress in the spiritual path much more quicker. Converting that daily action into spiritual action, that is called Karma Yoga. Not every action that we do becomes Karma Yoga. So there are specificity of how a karma becomes a Karma Yoga. There are specificities. And that is actually listed here, right? Everything that we are doing as a arpana to Devi. Here it is Devi, of course. And when you are talking about Narayana or Krishna, Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu, so it doesn't matter which Devata, but when you are doing the action, the karma, with that attitude of Arpanam to Devata, then it becomes the Karma Yoga. There are 3 steps to enlightenment. Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga. You might have heard this from Rajeshi for a long time. So Karma Yoga is whatever action if we are doing with the mentality of offering to the Devata, that becomes Karma Yoga. And then when the results come, we accept that as prasāda buddhi. So Īśvarārpana buddhi, when you do the action, prasāda buddhi, when you get the result of the action. That is how one karma qualifies as Karma Yoga. We have to do the action as if we are doing that as an action to Devata. So with the complete arpana. Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadajana ma karma phalahe durpohu ma de sangostva karmani. The verse 47 of chapter 2 says that we have the full control of doing the action. We should do the action with our full understanding. We have the authority to do the action completely. But when the results come, we are not the author of the result. We can't 100% say that we do 10 degree of action in it and then 10 degree output will get. We can never say that. Output is not depending on just our action. Right? So it is something that will happen because of the karma phaladhata. When we understand that, we can accept the result with that prasāda buddhi, whatever is as a prasāda. So only if we do the karma with that attitude, it is accepted as a karma yoga. So that is the first one. And why are we doing karma yoga? To purify our mind. No matter how much karma we do, we won't get enlightenment. No matter how much upasana we do, we won't get enlightenment. So in order to get enlightenment, we do need to know jnana. We need to have that jnana, right? But in order for jnanam to dawn in us, we need to clean up the vessel. We need to clean up our mind and we need to stabilize our mind. So in order to do that is what Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga is used. So Upasana Yoga, Karma Yoga, they use for Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Sthiti, clean up our mind and stabilize our mind. Upasana Yoga is actually the sadhana we do, chanting, the praying, the puja, the meditation. Everything comes under the category of Upasana Yoga. And it is also an action. It's also a karma. right? And Upasana Yoga, definitely you are doing with that attitude of Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu, with that Arpanam Bodham, right? Once we do the purifying our mind and stabilizing our mind, we get the jnana. Maybe an outside guru is the one who is giving the jnana, but inside the guru is that make it experiential for you, right? So that at that point in time, we will get the jnana, we will get the enlightenment. The majority of the time is used for karma yoga and upasana yoga, and jnana yoga, it's quick. It's our swarupam. To understand our swarupam as consciousness, it doesn't take much time. So it just, veil of ignorance is removed. We immediately understand who we are. It is not easy to do the karma yoga, upasana yoga. Like, how many people experienced sitting in meditation for 5 minutes and then that they are completely filled with other thoughts and emotions? And when doing the karma yoga, when your boss is really angry with you, or the boss is telling you the impossible task, or when your kids are doing things that you are not completely approving of, all that things, when it is happening on a daily life, it's very difficult to do this as a karma yoga. We can't say this as a Īśvara buddhi, and especially when the result comes, accepting this as a prasāda buddhi, it's not easy, right? So now the one that makes all these things easier is the new yoga called Bhakti yoga, right? So Bhakti yoga is not a separate thing altogether. So it's an action. Pure bhakti, para bhakti is jnanam itself. But when we do the karma yoga, if you want to surrender, the first action is that when whatever action we do, we have to do it with an Īśvara arpana buddhi, right? Ātma Samarpaṇam in the verse we said. So if we have to do that surrender, we have to see the value. We have to have bhakti in us, right? If there is no bhakti, I will not have that arpana bodham. Like, I can't do that surrendering. So in order to do the karma yoga, we need bhakti. In order to do bhasana yoga, definitely to sit in meditation, sit in puja, we do need bhakti. So bhakti is that lubricant that makes this daily action for karma yoga and upasana yoga palatable. So we need that bhakti, and the whole 100 verse here is talking about bhakti. So Bhagavad Pada's main goal with this is that understand the glory of Shakti and bring us closer to her through that bhakti, and generate that bhakti within us is what the Bhagavad Pada's goal. And our Sanatana that we are doing here is also to get that bhakti, because if that bhakti is there in us, then the karma yoga, no matter what difficult action that may be, that becomes a little easier for us. That we can cross the samsaram through that boat with less turbulence. So that is what bhakti helps us here. And upasana yoga also, like when we sit in meditation, it's not always easy, right? How many of us that within 5 minutes that we are talking about what we need to plan, what we need to act. Oh my God, I'm late for that. What am I going to do if I don't do the XYZ? What is it going to, every time, like if you think about it, like the mind always take you to that negative side. It never tells you, oh, you know what, 99% of the time in the past, it happened to be a good result, but it doesn't look into that. That 1% of the time, if there is a bad result, that's where the mind will drag us, right? So each time we will have that when we sit down. So Bhakti Yoga will help us. You know what? It doesn't matter. So we are doing that arpanam completely to Devata. That's where that concept of Ātma Samarpaṇam comes in. It's okay. Like, I'm doing, whether it is good or bad, I'm doing that complete arpanam to you. So now, how do we make it in our daily life, right? Let's be very frank to ourselves, right? We are not doing 100% dharmic. Dharma is very complicated, right? We can proceed to materialistic things. We can do whatever we want to do it for us, our family, we can do. That's not a problem. So artha and kama can be sought and received. But we have to do that with dharma. But dharma is again very complicated. Sometimes the same action can become adharma in one context and dharma in another context, right? And same person can do the same action at one point in time, it becomes dharma, at another point in time, adharma. So it is sometimes it's very difficult for us to understand. Always use the common sense. So it is not easy to do the dharma for 100% of the time. So how do we perform this karma yoga and upasana yoga when we don't know what we are doing is the right or wrong? So first of all, whatever we are doing, whether we know whether whatever that is dharma or adharma, whatever action we are doing, completely do the arpanam to Devi, right? Īśvara arpana buddhi. Let's keep doing that. Eventually, slowly, we understand that, you know what, I'm doing this for the arpanam to Devi, but this probably is not the good thing. That inner voice in you will start talking. So it will tell you that, okay, whatever I'm doing, is it right or wrong? It will tell you. So first, the starting point, whatever we are doing, it doesn't matter whether right or wrong or good or bad, anything that we are doing, just do the as an arpana. Eventually, slowly, that inner voice will come and then will tell us that whether is it right. Otherwise, it will auto-correct that action in us. So that's the power of that this saparya that we are going to take from now on. So to do the karma yoga and upasana yoga, and if we have bhakti, that both of them, it's a lubricant for to do the karma yoga and upasana yoga. Bhakti is the lubricant, and bhakti, we saw that trajectory of what Krishna was talking about, right? 4 types of bhakta. We start with artha bhakta, artharthi bhakta, the jitnyasu, and finally jnani. So there is no difference between the pure jnani, the enlightened, and the parabhakta. There is no difference. The one who is completely do the Ātma Samarpaṇam. What does that mean? There is no jivatma left, right? Because I am completely doing myself to Devi. So I was a river. So if I'm merging into the ocean, the river doesn't exist anymore. So it is with ocean. So my individuality, me as a jivatma, doesn't exist if I'm doing fully arpanam. So you have to understand this arpanam. It's not that we are not annihilating our body and mind. We're not. So this arpanam is a state of mind, right? At least from the beginning, it's a state of mind. So where we are saying that, like, we are removing our individuality, we are removing our jiva
identity.
and then we are merging in that Paramatma Bodha, from Jivatma to Paramatma Bodha. That doesn't mean that we will continue to have this body, we will continue to have mind. That will still be there. But it's that we are letting that higher power take over us. That's what it means by the Ātma Samarpaṇam. Eventually, our action becomes refined. Nuchur Swami always say that just like we are collecting the scattered sesame seeds, slowly, shanaihi, we have to clean up, we have to purify all our action. So each action we are doing, that originally talk becomes like blabbering, like a prattle, but eventually it gets refined. So anything that I talk becomes purposeful, meaningful. I put the conscious effort behind it. So that is how it will change. It will slowly purify ourselves. So we just have to consciously do that action. Every action, like for example, at the end of this class, I would say, whatever I spoke, that I'm doing this as Sarvam Jagadambika Padara Vindarpanamastu. Like I'm doing the full arpanam to Devi. So every action that we are doing, whether it is this class or whether it is making a coffee, whether it is doing something for your child or husband or wife or anything that we are doing, with your work also, that at office, whatever you're doing, regardless of what action, just keep doing that as the arpanam to Devata, that eventually our action becomes purified. And the thing is that in order to get the jnanam, remember the example we used, the jnanam, if we equate that to milk, pure milk that we want to boil, the pot that we are taking has oil and all the dirt in it. And then if you put the milk in it, it will curdle, that it will not be useful for us. That jnanam, even if we learn all the scriptures, all that thing, right? It will not be useful for us. And that's why we have to clean up the pot. And Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga does that. The majority of the work is to clean us up. So through the Karma Yoga, through the Upasana Yoga, clean us up, and then we put the jnanam in it, it will be fine. And now that the question comes in, there are examples of someone getting enlightened without even doing any sadhana. For example, Nisargadatta Maharaj, right? He himself in the interview said that Guru told me that you are that Satchidananda Atma. I believed in it, and he got enlightened. Right. And same thing for Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi, at the age of 11 or 12, he had the experience of death, right? He was thinking about death. He slowly, he's experiencing that his body is getting removed, his mind is being removed, everything one by one. But then one thing that he experienced that is not leaving, self, that is not leaving. So he got enlightenment. He didn't do any sadhana, right? But how we need to understand this is that we are not seeing their sadhana, right? They might have been doing sadhana in their previous life. Then this life, it just fructified immediately. So we don't skip any of these karma yoga, upasana yoga. So these are the 3 steps to enlightenment. So we have to go through this. But some people, depending on their maturity of their Atma that came through, it may be quicker. Some people take it longer. But Bhagavan Krishna offers us that whatever sadhana we are doing, we are not starting from scratch. We are starting from there in our next life if we don't enlighten this very life. There is one more thing I want to bring out, the Bhakti, Navada Bhakti that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is part of Prahlada. Prahlada is talking about this Navada Bhakti. Beautiful sloka. But ultimately what it is saying that there are 9 forms of how Bhakti is, that we practice Bhakti and also we display Bhakti. Shravanam, hearing. Kirtanam, by chanting. Smaranam, by remembering. When we do the Karma Yoga, for every action, when we do that as an arpana, we are remembering her or him or whichever devata, Ishta devata, we remember him constantly, right? So that will increase the bhakti. Then pada sevanam, serving the lotus feet. Archanam is worship. Vandanam, praying. Dasyam, servitude. Dasyam, the biggest example is dasoham. Hanuman, deha buddhya to dasoham, right? I consider me as a deha. I am your dasa, Rama's dasa, right? Servitude. Sakyam, friendship, the friendship of so many people, Arjuna's friendship to Krishna. Then Atma Nivedana. So this verse talk about complete surrender. So Atma Nivedanam is the one that provides you the jnana. So where you are removing your Jivatma and you are merging with Paramatma. So that's why the 3rd step was the jnanam. Jnanam is the Atmarpanam. So that's why I was saying this particular verse has all of them. So it has karma yoga, where every action that we are doing, that is done with the attitude of yoga, right? Ishwararpana buddhi. So that is here. Then upasana, of course, they are talking about japam, the mudra, pradakshinam, of course, all these sadhana, the upasana yoga. And then jnanam. Jnanam is the part that atmarpana disha. So when I completely do the arpanam to it, I don't exist. I as a jivatma doesn't exist. So what exists is the paramatma. I become paramatma. I am paramatma. I realize, because it is not I become, I realize I am Paramatma. I am always Paramatma. I am that consciousness forever, right? So even when during the Pralayam's time, Shiva is the only one that is existing, and we are that Shiva. I am that Shiva. I am that Shiva and Shakti. So we are always that. It's just a reminder. This sloka, definitely good for chanting, but don't just chant, but use this. This is an application. So this is for Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Use it in your life, right? So that's why that's the importance of this verse. So one more time. Japo Jalpa Shilpam Sakalamapi Mudra Virachana Gadi Pradakshinya Kramanam Ashanadya Huti Vidihi Pranama Samvesha Sukhamakilam Atmarpanadrisha Saparya Paryaya Tava Bhavatu Yanme Vilasidam. May all my action becomes the puja to you, becomes a saparya to you. So may all get that blessings from Devi to continue that saparya. Let you all be enlightened this very life. Let that happen.
Japo jalpa shilpam sakalamabhimudra virajana gadi pradakshinya kramanam ashanadya huti vidihi प्रणामः संवेशः सुखमखिलम् आत्मार्पणदृशा सपर्यापर्यायस्तव भवतु यन्मे विलसितम्।
ॐ श्रीमात्रे नमः। सर्वं श्रीजगदम्बिका पादारविन्दार्पणमस्तु।